We can talk about how we celebrated National Treason Day, and we're live right as I'm saying it. Perfect timing. Episode 72, our midweek episode. This Life in Tech. I'm Jason,
and I'm Dan. I'm out in Davenport, Iowa.
Like what good comes out of Iowa? Corn and Slipknot.
Dude, I have no idea. I haven't had any corn. Not any Slipknot either, but it was kind of interesting. You know. I know. We had one particular topic, but and if our guest joins, it's great. But there was some stuff that I was, Civil War things that are out here. Evidently, in this area, they trained a majority of the Union troops for the Civil War. And it's interesting how smart Lincoln was during the Civil War time. And I am now convinced that Lincoln won the Civil War through technology.
I would agree with that, man. I would agree with that.
And here are the two things that he did that just seem to be why the South, actually, I know why, at least from the stuff that I've been reading here recently. So Lincoln took control of the railroad system in the North and the telegraph. He took it under government control. The South didn't do that because all of the what appears to be, at least in my initial research, they were too greedy. The private people that owned the telegraph systems and the railroad system wouldn't give it up to the South. Lincoln didn't give them a choice. He took it. And because of that, they were able to get troops into place faster using the railroad system and then the telegraph, so they could everyone would know where troop movements were and they could position themselves accordingly.
Yeah, I would totally agree, man, that abstractly that the Civil War was lost and won based on simple supply chain and logistics management.
Yeah,
it really was.
Absolutely. And it changed the way military was done for forever. Now there were some screw ups because both sides got this new type of bullet that were able to load like 8 times faster than a regular musket, and that's what was causing all these amputees. This bullet hit you, it was going all the way through you. I don't remember what they called it, but it was fascinating, some of the stuff that I've been learning out here. And especially, I had no idea they trained all these troops here and then they shipped them down.
Yeah.
Done.
Well, I've never been there, man, but my dad is as a hobby, right, is a Civil War buff. So we would go sometimes, the few family vacations we took growing up, we would go to Pennsylvania and go like to Gettysburg and stuff like that, man. And it's just fascinating. Well, because a lot of that still translates. It's interesting how this concept of supply chain and logistical management perpetuates itself throughout not only military history, because look at World War II. I mean, I think there's a strong argument to be made that Germany might not have lost as quick or at all if they hadn't made that critical Napoleon mistake of marching into Russia with a bad winter coming and losing their supply chain.
In everything, greed comes out. And the greedier you are, eventually you're going to make a mistake.
Well, and it's also lack of forethought too in planning. And I think because the greed fuels that. Greed fuels this myopic short-term gain focus instead of the long-term gain, and the long-term gain more so based on worst-case scenarios. Like, right? What is the absolute worst-case scenario? Let me build my plan to that so that I'm ready for that. And then if the worst case doesn't happen, well, I'm incrementally better.
Yeah. It's like that with everything. I think people don't want to, so to speak, role play the certain things that could happen to them, or tabletop exercise, as we call it in cybersecurity world. Tabletop it, figure out what could happen, plan for it. This way, in the event that you need to act, you're able to act. There is this big ass, I don't know if this is a bee or what. It is huge. It is ugly, and it looks nasty. I'm just hoping it stays away from me. I ain't trying to get stung by something like that.
Listen, man, I've been taking Lily for walks, in this backpack, right? And I don't think I said this part. There was a spider so big, man, that when it was moving away from me, like the tall grass was falling under its weight. This thing was so big. It wasn't tarantula size, but it had some heft to it. Oh, by the way, man. So I've been taking my bikes out for some rides. Dude, the drivers here are way better than in California. I think because they're used to tractors, right? So they're used to slow moving vehicles taking up some of the lane, and they take their time. They don't honk. They move around. But I'll tell you what I did see for the first time, man, riding through the countryside, a rebel flag.
Well, you're going to have to fix that part.
Well, hey, man, look, I don't even know what to say about it, to be honest with you. I just saw it, and I'm like, oh, hey, that's a rebel flag. You can call it whatever you want, but to a northerner, that's a rebel flag.
It is a rebel flag. There's no place for that in my new empire. All people will be treated equally.
Yeah, how about we just dispense with flags altogether? What the fuck do you need a flag for at this point? It's the 21st century.
It should be digital.
Well, yeah, I would suggest that we have better things to do than think about the creation and management and maintaining of flags. But hey, man.
No idea.
I'm surprised I haven't seen more, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, you're not in the deep South. You're not like in Alabama.
Well, and I'm in a pretty progressive part of the South.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting, if you look at some maps, this isn't classified as the South. It's classified as the Southeast.
Oh.
Not mid-Atlantic, because I'm below Virginia. But man, listen, I'm only like 40 minutes, 50 minutes south of the Virginia border.
Yep.
So it's not like I'm on the other side of the state where I border South Carolina.
True. South Carolina isn't too bad. It's until you get into like Greenville.
Yeah. Well, look, man, I want to incorporate the two states because I think it's a great idea, and because I want Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, Myrtle Beach. I love Myrtle Beach. Used to go there every summer growing up. My grandparents were there.
Yeah, we would drive down for spring break from Ohio.
Yeah. Really? That's a pretty long drive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, I was an undergrad. What else do you got to do?
That's true.
And we didn't have any money to fly.
Yeah. Nice.
But yeah, man, supply chain and logistics, I think even when you look at it in terms of like human capital, labor, and you know, the big thing people are starting to become aware of, I've seen in the news, is becoming aware of burnout.
Yeah. You know, any of these things, probably the logistics is the most important part, I think, of anything. Understanding your people, understanding your assets, understanding your enemy, whether it be competition or real enemy. You know, the more you know about it, the better you can start positioning your people, and you understand how to get the supply chain moving. Well, right. And I think part of the stuff that Lincoln did quite well with this, he read almost everything that came through in terms of his soldiers' communications, everything, and he was able to position his generals where he wanted them to. That dude,
yeah, well, that made a massive. Well, I mean, we saw that like in the first Gulf conflict, right?
Yeah,
where, you know, because of our mechanized infantry, we were able to essentially outpace the Iraqi forces and massively reposition ourselves into areas where they didn't anticipate us. They didn't think about the worst case scenario. I mean, that was a pretty. Do you remember how Schwarzkopf got on TV and described what was going on, man? I'll never forget that. I was in high school, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, are you back? Yeah, I think that bee landed on your connection, man.
No, I don't remember it. Who did describe what?
Oh man, your connection's failing, dude. We might have to abort.
Yeah. So you said Schwarzkopf who described something?
Yeah, when Schwarzkopf got on TV after we invaded Iraq, and he described the mechanized troop movements from like the south and going up around.
Well, see if I can get a picture of it. I don't even know if it was the be. It might even be a hornet. I have no idea. I'm not an outdoors person.
Yeah, man. I think we might want to end this episode now. Your connection is horrible.
Oh, that's right. I'll try and get a picture of that bee and put it up on Twitter. This thing is massive.
Perfect, man. Well, let's call it there. That's episode 72. We started off good. We ended not so good. What's up with the technology? We'll talk about that on Sunday. Later, everybody.